Hello and welcome to your English news here on ERi-TV. It's exactly 10:30 p.m. on Eritrea's local time here on our capital Asmara with your local and global reports. I'm Zahra Badouri, but first, your exclusives for this airing time. Efforts to ensure social welfare in Anseba region. Potable water project in Guritat administrative area. On your international, according to yesterday's reports, China and Indian foreign ministers meet on bilateral relations. And Arab leaders discuss Palestinian issue, Gaza developments. Welcome to your reports in brief. The Ministry of Labour and Social Welfare branch in the Anseba region has reported significant efforts to ensure social welfare in the region. The report was presented during an activity assessment meeting held in Kiran on 21st of this February. Mr. ERi, head of the branch office, stated that the special attention has been given to the eradication of underage marriages, assessments of the economic status of families of martyrs, strengthening community-based support systems, eliminating harmful practices, and identifying disadvantaged citizens. Mr. ERi further highlighted that in the year 2024, approximately 26 million naqfa was dispersed to families of martyrs. Additionally, 17 disadvantaged families in the subzone of Hamel Malo, Adat Kalizan, Halhal, Galab, Karan and Elabar'id were rehabilitated with materials worth 10,000 naqfa each. Moreover, cultivation of crops and renovation of houses for 895 disadvantaged citizens was carried out, and disadvantaged students received essential school materials. Colonel Tasfatzion Girmay, director of the social services in the region, stated that strong efforts have been made to eradicate harmful practices and encourage pregnant women to give birth at health facilities. He also noted that the subzone of Elabar'id, Galab, Hamel Malo and Karan have been declared free of female genital mutilation. Mrs. Lul Gabrab, Minister of Labour and Social Welfare, emphasized that ensuring the social welfare of citizens remains a key objective of the ministry. She called for a thorough study on the current socio-economic conditions of families and of martyrs and war-disabled veterans to better address their needs. On your second, domestic potable water project put in place at Guritat Sarajaga subzone at a cost of over 2 million naqfa has been inaugurated on this February's 22nd. The project includes solar energy system, a container with the capacity of holding 150 barrels of water, and as well as 2,486 meters of water pipeline. Noting that the residents have been facilitating and facing problems of getting potable water supply, Mr. Eyob Fissaha, administrator of Guritat administrative area, expressed gratitude to the Central Region Administration, Water Resource Department, Project Adahallo Hawakin Water Drilling Company, and as well as the subzonal administration for their contribution and participation in the project. Mr. Kifla Mariam Gabra Maskal, administrator of the subzone, on his part called on the residents to make judicious use of the project for its sustainability. Congratulating the residents for being able to become beneficiaries of potable water supply in their vicinity, Mr. Girmay Takhlaab, head of the Water Resources Branch in the Central Region, called for regular follow-up on the project. Guritat administrative area is located about 30 kilometers from Asmara and is residence to about 353 families. Your global reports in a bit. Stay tuned. Report reports on the global line. According to yesterday's reports, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi met with his Indian counterpart, Indian External Affairs Minister Subrahmanyam Jaishankar in Johannesburg, South Africa, on Friday to discuss bilateral ties on the sidelines of the G20. Minister Wang, a member of the Political Bureau of the Communist Party of China's Central Committee, evoked the successful meeting between Chinese President Xi Jinping and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Kazan, Russia last year, which set the general direction for the improvement and development of bilateral relations. During the meeting, the two sides agreed that China and India, as two ancient civilizations and neighboring countries, should trust and support each other towards a multifaceted success. Minister Wang noted that restoring mutual trust and achieving win-win cooperation aligned with the common expectation of the two societies, adding that both sides should fundamentally adhere to the consensus reached by their leaders and ensure that bilateral relations remain on the right track. His additional speech says that China is ready to work with India to plan commemorative activities for the 75th anniversary of the establishment of the diplomatic ties between the two countries, injecting new impetus into the development of the bilateral relations as well. Mr. Jaishankar, for his part, said that the Kazan meeting between President Modi and President Xi has provided a crucial guidance for the important improvement of Indian-China bilateral relations, leading to the gradual recommencement of bilateral exchanges in various fields and yielding remarkable results. Minister Jaishankar said India cherishes the hard-won achievement in improving bilateral relations and stands ready to work with China to speed up the resumption of cooperation mechanism, enhancing people-to-people exchanges, facilitate cross-border level and joint safeguard peace and tranquility within the border area. As both India and China are members of the G20, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and the BRICS, it is particularly important for the two countries to strengthen their coordination. Minister Jaishankar added that India, on the other hand, is willing to strengthen communication and cooperation with China in this regard. On your final report, in a Saudi press agency report, leaders of Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Kuwait, and Bahrain met in Saudi Arabia's capital, Riyadh, on Friday to discuss the Palestinian issue and the development in the Gaza Strip. A detailed free report described the gathering as a consultative brotherly meeting. Media reports, however, suggested that the discussion were meant to focus on Gaza's post-war reconstruction to counter a recent proposal by U.S. President Donald Trump, however, a plan widely rejected by Arab nations, which is to relocate Palestinians from the enclave and turn it into a Riviera of the Middle East. According to SPA, this grand meeting is at the invitation of Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud and attended by Jordanian King Abdullah II, Qatari Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Bahraini Crown Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, and Kuwaiti Emir Sheikh Mash'al Al-Ahmed Al-Jabir Al-Sabah. During the meeting minutes, the leaders also expressed their support for the upcoming Emergency Arab League Summit scheduled to take place in Cairo, Egypt on March 4th to address the latest Palestinian developments. Before we end this news broadcast, these are a recap of your today's exclusives. Efforts to ensure social welfare in Anseba region. Potable water project in Guritat administrative area. On your international, according to February 22nd report, China and Indian meeting on bilateral relations. And Arab leaders discuss Palestinian issue and Gaza's developments. That is all from us here on ERi-TV with your English news broadcast. Until we are back with some more news, stay and enjoy the rest of our programs here on ERi-TV. But until then, protect them.